Describe what you think is most important to get done short term. What's going to create jobs, as you're pointing out, the quickest, and what are you principally going to say, day one, the rest of this year, we've got to get done, highest priority?
So, I mean, our two main points to create economic growth are tax reform and regulatory relief. And those are the things that we've been working on every single day since I've been confirmed. As it relates to tax, we have over, as you well know, we have over 100 people in the tax department. Even though we haven't gotten everybody confirmed yet, we have an incredible Treasury staff that's been working very hard on this day and night. And we're pretty close to being able to bring forward what's going to be major tax reform. And on the regulatory side, my focus is primarily on the financial markets, although across the administration we're focused on regulatory relief. And again, we believe in proper regulation. So this isn't about having no regulation, but as it relates to regulatory reform, making sure that our banks can lend and that this doesn't put our taxpayers at risk.
So let's take those two issues, your biggest issue. Let's start with tax reform. We had a good panel this morning, getting a little bit of the weeds, process and all that. But let's step back. And if you're looking, you know, you had a campaign, the president had a campaign, came up with a plan. It morphed a little bit as you went through towards the end. The House put out a plan. Now you're going to have to all work together with the Senate and come up with something that's going to have to become legislation. That's going to be very important. The plan doesn't do anything, right? So what are the principles in the plan that you want the most? What has to be in there from the administration standpoint to get signed by the president?
Well, the good thing, and let me just say, you know, I've been meeting weekly with Chairman Brady and members of the Senate Finance Committee. So we've been doing a lot of work. And I think the good news is that the three groups have the same objective. And the objectives are simplify personal taxes, create middle-income tax cuts to spur the economy, and make our business taxes competitive. Right now, we have some of the highest business tax rates in the world. We tax on worldwide income. We have this crazy system of deferral. So it's not a surprise those three things lead to U.S. companies leaving trillions of dollars offshore. So on the business side, it's about making business taxes competitive and bringing back what we believe will be trillions of dollars to invest.
So what I'm reading into that is obviously lower corporate rates, like it's been on the table, and dealing with the repatriation issues, getting the money back without the obstacles to do so. When you do that, of course, it does cost money, because if you're going to reduce taxes, even if you're going to get more growth over time, there is a question of whether it has to be revenue neutral or not, or whether or not you have to be fiscally responsible. What's the administration's current thinking about that?
Well, the good news is you know a lot about this stuff. This is you're an educated consumer. The deal will pay for itself. Now, having said that, we fundamentally believe in dynamic scoring. So as you know, static scoring, you change the tax code, you plug it in, you see what the cost is. So you are correct that if fundamentally you're lowering taxes under a static score, it's gonna cost money. Now, having said that, some of the lowering in rates is going to be offset by less deductions and simpler taxes. So some of it will be made up on that, but the majority of it will be made up on in what we believe is fundamentally growth and dynamic scoring. And you know, these are huge numbers. I mean, you could have as high as $2 trillion difference in revenues over a 10-year period, depending on what you think is going to be the growth function. So the plan will pay for itself with growth.
So you're looking for something that at least will be fiscally responsible, that will have rate cuts, will have some sort of international changes, probably look at some of the deductions, credits, and exemptions that are in the code to see what doesn't need to be there for simplification to offset some of the cost. And what about on the individual side? How are you looking at that? The business
similarly, you know, on the individual side, fewer number of brackets. You know, the House plan had 3 brackets. We're looking at whether we think it should be 3 or 4. But fundamentally, fewer brackets, less deductions, simpler tax code.